And our final cyber story presenter, as well as the final presenter on the topic of financial fraud, will be Mr. Swapneel Patnekar. He's from India, and what he's going to tell you about basically how threat actors set up large-scale scams. What are the networks built from? How the domain registrars and registries and crypto payments, how all of them can detect these kind of network triggers, and what can we all do to disrupt these operations. So Swapneel will be joining us from online. So is Swapneel tuned in? Yep. Oh, perfect. Can he see me? Can he see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Hi. Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear as well?
Hi,
we
everyone.
can hear you perfectly.
Yes.
Perfect. So, yeah, Swapneel, the floor is all yours. Please.
Thank you. Thank you for the brief introduction about the presentation. Firstly, thank you for having me. And I would have loved to be in the same room as all of you are, but unfortunately, I could not travel. Hopefully, the next time. But I also hope that this presentation, there is a bit of insight that you can take away pertaining to disrupting industrial scale scams. A bit of housekeeping. Please pardon my accent. I speak 7 languages and at times speak very fast. So it's a disease called as problem exists between my keyboard and chair. So this is a TLP clear presentation. Unfortunately, I will only talk about TLP clear stuff. If I would have been there, then probably I could have shared a lot of juicy stuff as well. Ask questions, at any point of time, and hopefully at the end we have some time to take those questions. And I've been told that I'm the last speaker, so I'm the guy between the evening social, standing between you and the evening social. So, little background about some of the research that we have been doing for the last 9 to 10 months is we have been detecting consistently somewhere in the range of around 50,000 to 100,000 scam domain names every month, around 100 plus new IP addresses, and around 15 to 20 autonomous systems, which are basically providing services to the ecosystem of cyber criminals who are operating these industrial scale scams. So when I talk about industrial scale scams, just to make sure the audience understands the scope of these scams, there are 3 in it, to be very specific, that we have been focusing on pertaining to the research that we have been doing. One is the pig butchering or romance baiting scams. So pig butchering is something that is frowned upon, and I think Interpol also came out with a document which talks about using romance baiting as the terminology, especially to make sure that the victims are not impacted by using that specific terminology. So pig butchering is also known as shazupan, which is basically slaughtering the pig, right? Or fattening, the process of fattening the pig, where there is a contact made with people and through various social media platforms, and a relationship is built. Specifically, a romantic relationship is built, and then the victim is, slowly, promised to make investments into various platforms. The second one is investment scams, which is primarily, websites which promise out of the world returns, like 30% returns, 40% returns on the investment. And the third one is cryptocurrency related scams, where there is recovery of wallets, or recovery of stolen funds. So websites or services which promise that they will recover these stolen funds, and in turn actually bleed the victim in a different way. So these are the only scams that I will talk about in this particular presentation, primarily because these are the ones which are happening at a very, very large scale. So this is what I was referring to. So Interpol has a guideline or a document on their website which talks about usage of romance baiting instead of pig butchering. There is a human trafficking perspective as well, which I will not talk about in detail, but I think that's already been covered by a lot of media outlets in the context of human trafficking, where people are actually promised jobs and then they are basically taken to these scam compounds where they are victims of human trafficking, where they are tortured, forced to actually do all these scams, which are many in stages, like reaching out to people and building a relationship. Then there is a different ecosystem of people who are actually looking at taking the data, whatever the data is shared, and so on, like creating videos and stuff like that. There is also a United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime report that came out earlier this year in April 2025, which talks about these scam compounds specifically. And my three takeaways, I would urge all of you to actually look at that report if you have not seen the technical policy brief. But my three takeaways is primarily it's a transnational organized crime, money laundering in a very large way. And finally, question for all of you: is this economic warfare? So we have been publishing a bit of reports on the internet pertaining to these industrial scale scams, and many of these reports are available, on my LinkedIn page as well. And one of the key elements which keeps popping up every now and then is the infrastructure, right? So where is the network infrastructure of these scams? So one of the things which threat actors primarily use is something like a web application firewall or a CDN like Cloudflare, which or many such similar ones. And we have sort of using various techniques like passive DNS and a few other techniques looked at identifying where the actual server resides, where the actual infrastructure resides. So from the reports, you can probably see there is a large cluster of network infrastructure which is predominantly based in the United States, um, also concentrated in certain autonomous systems. And I'll talk about this in probably in some time. Uh, Unfortunately, this was supposed to be a demo that I could have shown you pertaining to what the live network infrastructure that we are looking at. But you can see something which is a static image at this point of time. But I'll probably get to this when I talk about the autonomous system bit. So the ecosystem per se, in terms of infrastructure, is sort of divided into multiple parts. One is there is an ecosystem of threat actors who are primarily building or creating these websites or templates that are being used for all these industrial scale scams. These are not only sold on the dark web, but these are readily available on the clear internet as well. Then there are various groups. There are various criminal groups which are operating at many different levels. Then there are operators who are primarily given the responsibility of making social media posts, making engaging with the potential victim on WhatsApp and Telegram and others as well. And then there is the network infrastructure side of things, where you have domain names, you have the servers and the autonomous systems which are basically pushing the packets to the servers as well. And finally, there is a human trafficking angle. So this is what it totally comprises at in a nutshell. Of course, there are many nuances to this, but this is a broader view of what the industrial scale scam ecosystem is. So, from a social media perspective, this is just a snippet of uh, Telegram channels or groups which are basically created by these threat actors promising jobs. Not all of these listed out on this is are bad or malicious, but majority of them are. And this is where they basically find people who are actually going to be, are going to be a result of human trafficking and then taken into these scam compounds and then tortured and made to do all these things. So this is how it starts. This is just one of the examples of how this starts. Then you have something which I talked about is the templates, the website templates, or what we also call as HYIP, which stands for High Yield Investment Platform website templates. So these are, ready-made templates which are available. Like one of the screenshots you see on the left-hand side is a template with a license of I think $59. There are some templates which are also freely available. So, one of the ways in which we are also able to detect this is by looking at open directories. Open directories are a gold mine in terms of from a detection standpoint. So a lot of times you can detect infrastructure even before it is weaponized. Like these two images at the very top actually give you that as an example. Like on the left, you have a template which is yet to be weaponized. On the right, there is a template for the cryptocurrency scam, right? It's wallet access. It's a template that is primarily used for, a website which portrays that this is a service using which we will be able to help you in recovering your funds, right? And then you also find a lot of other badness, like there is an exe, couple of exe files as well. So open directories is one of the ways in which we are sort of detecting this at scale. And in one of the templates, I love the way in which they have this messaging and the word joyful at the very end. I'm not sure what is joyful about this, to be specific. Another example where these templates are available for, not only free but even some like, $19 and whatnot. Again, examples of templates readily available on websites on the internet, which are just plug and play. They just have to integrate the backend, which is primarily going to be something like a Telegram or a database like Firebase. These are some of the examples of romance baiting websites, and we have, in the last few months, we have seen there is a big push towards using the word AI in these templates. So you see AI chain trader, big GPT app backed by the latest AI technology. So sort of building a trust or other, projecting that this particular website is using AI in all ways, right? And then there are these graphs and charts which talk about, giving a feel of a stock market trading or a forex website, which gives sort of legitimacy with respect to what the website does. These are few examples of romance baiting websites which are mobile friendly only. So if you sort of access them on a desktop or a non-mobile device, then you would probably see output which is going to be similar to the image in the center, right? Totally distorted and not the UI that it is made for. There is a lot of AI related content that we are, AI related content or websites that have been generated using AI to a very large extent that we have been also seeing in a very large way. And this is something which is a prime example where on the left you see an example of the New York Times, right? So this is a scam website which is actually impersonating. It's a single page website which is impersonating the New York Times, and it talks about Apple releasing its cryptocurrency called as iCoin, right? And at the bottom you see there is a joint pre-sale at iCoinPay.net. One of the interesting bits, if you also pay attention to this particular image, is the author, the image of the profile picture of the author. So this guy actually works at New York Times, and he actually covers technology and other bits related to technology as well. And then once you click on that URL at the very bottom, what you see is the page which is asking the user to connect their wallet in order to participate in the crypto you know the Apple's iCoin. These are some of the examples of crypto wallet recovery websites which promise to recover stolen funds, and a lot of shady stuff in terms of some of the things that they do on these websites. Although the templates might also be very similar, but the way in which they operate slightly differs based on the criminal gang that is behind it. Another common pattern that we have been also looking at, and this is using passive DNS from a detection standpoint, is looking at here is an example of a domain, funinexchange.com, which is primarily in the at the time of detection, it was operating a crypto scam, a crypto investment platform. So one of the things what you'll notice here is change of DNS records over a period of time. So since 1st of May 2024 up till 1st May 2025, that is roughly a period of 1 year, you can actually see the number of IP addresses that the domain has consistently changed its DNS record to, right? So it's primarily trying to, evade from a detection standpoint, primarily looking at changing the servers where the infrastructure is. And this is something that we have been observing, a lot, especially the ones which have been active for a very long time. The newer ones are short-lived, so those are basically being taken down as soon as maybe in a couple of weeks or in some months. But the old ones, like this domain probably I think has was active for more than 2 years, and over a period of time it's consistently changing its DNS record, the IP address that it is pointing to. So passive DNS is also a useful way from a detection standpoint, because it will also uncover the not only the specific domain but also the IP addresses that it has been consistently changing to. Another lot of things which we have been we have been able to uncover, and which were very useful insights from our perspective when we were doing this research is, here is an example of an open directory again on the left. And what you see here is basically HYIP website template. So each of the directories are high yield investment platform templates. So you can understand that this threat actor, basically what they have done is they have registered one particular domain, and under that domain they have created all these subfolders with the templates, right? But the last one is very interesting. The last one is actually a project on GitHub called as UI names. And the whole idea behind this project is it allows anyone to self-host that particular application, and it allows them to generate random names or profiles, right? So the way this works is you host it, on your system, and I think it's just an index.html. It's an HTML page and a JavaScript file. So once you put it in your system and you open the file index page in the browser, it'll ask you to press spacebar, and once you do that, it'll ask you which country profile do you want to create it. So you give the country name, let's say Latvia, and then it will generate name, first name, last name. It will generate a fake mobile number. It will generate a fake profile picture. These are some of the tools that these threat actors are also using to communicate. So next time you get a message when some random person who is not in your contacts says hi, I think you can probably remember this particular slide. These are some of the tools using which they are getting the profile names, pictures, and stuff like that. Here is an interesting example of JavaScript in when we were hunting and looking at some of the patterns and content powering these websites. This one naturally stood up. This one, if you observe, a lot of code here, but it's very simple to go through. If if the operating system that is you know which is accessing this particular website, scam website, if it is Windows, then don't do anything. And if it is not Windows, then replace the crypto addresses behind the scenes. So this is JavaScript code. So on the website, it is actually showing certain wallet addresses like A, B, and C. But if the user's operating system is not Windows, then once the user has made a transaction, the actual money is going to different wallet addresses entirely, right? Then they're actually not going to the addresses which are being advertised on the web page. And one of the reasons which we can possibly think of why they are doing this is because when the victim goes to law enforcement saying that this is where the money has gone from my wallet, probably buy some time from an investigation standpoint to put people in a wrong chase. Another common pattern which is evident is a single domain will have like thousands of I'm sorry, a single domain will have thousands of subdomains or hosts under it. So this is a prime example of financecryptoworld.com. This is a single domain. But if you look at all the subdomains, it's like 3,000 plus. Like we couldn't even fit them in a single slide, right? And all of these are actually different, template, different, database that the data is going to. And passive DNS again is from a detection standpoint, helps or helped here in this particular case. So threat actors also are lazy in terms of whenever they are actually doing things. So many a times it helps when they do something like this. The other thing which we also were looking at, so when we looked at over a period of 9 to 10 months, all the domain names every day on a monthly basis, is something stood up, right? Stood out rather. And that was some of the registrars which we had never heard about. And some of these registrars basically provide API access. So you can create an account and they'll give you an API using which you can register like, 10,000 domain names in like a few seconds, right? Um, they only accept payments in crypto. So there is no other way in which you can pay them. There is no credit card payment or any other payment mode available. By the way, both of these are not breaking any rules as per ICANN's registrar agreements. But these are some of the things which we have found that basically propel these industrial scale scams, because for from a threat actor perspective, it makes it super easy to register like 100,000 domain names in a matter of few minutes, right? Without any checks and balances, without any sort of barrier for registration whatsoever. And because it is, they are also accepting money in crypto. It also becomes, a lot easier from a threat actor perspective, from a traceability perspective, from threat hunting perspective. I think it makes it a lot more challenging as well. And then there are autonomous systems which are primarily, which we would also call them as bulletproof hosting providers, because these are autonomous systems who do not sort of provide any support when abuse is reported. They do not comply pertaining to whatever abuse of infrastructure which is under their control. They are not responding in any way. They are not complying, even though clear evidence is given saying that this is abuse and this is the potential harm, and this is the harm that is actually happening. So these are some of the autonomous systems which we would call them as bulletproof hosting. And a few examples which is, maybe it'll give you an insight that this is not just limited to certain generic top-level domains, but this is also widely happening under CCTLD domain names, that is country code top-level domains as well. So this is an example of some of the scam domain names under .jp, which is the CCTLD for Japan, right? And one of the common patterns which I forgot to mention when I was showing you the slide, which is a single domain having like 3,000 plus subdomains. So one of the key, one of the methods in which we are also doing the detection bit is the string in the domain name as well. That is one of the not the only thing. That is one of the things where there is, you will see Bitcoin profit, big Bitcoin platform, and something similar, right? So that is also one of the ways in which that aids in detection. This is in the context of .in, which is the CCTLD for India. And you see there is a pattern here in small sample size of domains that I've shared, immediate hyphen something, right? So that's a pattern. But again, classification only based on this is not useful. We are also looking at the content as well. We are also looking at the DOM hash, that is the content on the page as well. And then based on that, we are basically classifying along with other methods like passive DNS and few others. This is some of the domains under .sg. Again, similar pattern pertaining to the templates, similar pattern pertaining to the domain names as well. And then we are also, looking at. We have also come across, large scale infrastructure in certain countries. Like one of the patterns was earlier patterns that we were only looking at, only seeing in the data that we have is basically infrastructure in the US. Now we are also started to see infrastructure in other countries like Hong Kong as well. So some of the autonomous systems, specifically one or two autonomous systems in Hong Kong. Then we have also done tracing the money on the blockchain, and in some of the cases, it's been actually a little difficult. So this is something from our own tooling. So this is not using any proprietary product per se. So all the detection that we have done, everything what I've spoken about in this presentation, and even if it was a TLP red presentation, all the things that we have done from a technical standpoint has been using something that is our own tooling, something which is not only just from an OSINT perspective, but something we have built on our own, trying to even chase the money on the blockchain as well. And some of the cases we have not succeeded. Some of the cases we are still looking at connecting the dots. All right, so this is some of the references pertaining to what I spoke about, as well as a few other references that might be useful. Happy to take any questions if anyone has.
Perfect. Thank you, Swapneel. Can we share the last slide where all the references were? Because a few people wanted to take a picture of that as well. So you wish to, please do. Some very useful information. So thank you again for tuning in. We do have some questions. We do have from Alan, please.
So I liked your point about using the API to mass register domain names and then paying with Bitcoin. Do you think that ICANN should institute stronger protections against this kind of what seems like obvious abuse?
I think this question probably falls under the policy category or from a regulation perspective. But my thoughts are, I think, definitely yes. So one of the ways in which what ICANN could potentially do is, even though giving an API access is definitely not bad or malicious, right? But it's the volume, right? The volume of enabling anyone to register 10,000 domain names in a second, right? What is the potential use case of this, right? I can't think of any viable, legitimate use case for registering these many number of domains, right? Now, I don't know, I just took a number 10,000 off top of my head, but I think there could definitely be some regulation, pertaining to the registrar agreements that ICANN has with these registrars. Yeah, so definitely, yes. I think that becomes a lot easier for these threat actors to quickly start new infrastructure, right? It could be the same autonomous systems, but they're just changing the domain names, right? And that makes it very super easy for them to do that. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, perfectly. So again, thank you. He can see me, yeah? So next time I see you, Swapneel, this is a box you'll receive from me. Thank you for being a speaker here today. And hope next year, you'll be able to come in person and share much juicier details as well under the TLP Amber or other classification as well. Also, for all those here, the slides will be available online, as this is a TLP Clear presentation, so you'll see them on our website. But thank you again.